these are words that we often pass over, right?
Yeah.
This whole beginning just feels like something you just speed through, and we don't realize all of the implications of every little sentence and phrase here that's being used. Called to be an apostle, or a called apostle. There's definitely a kind of Isaiah theme here. And on Isaiah, there are lots of scriptures where the word called is used. And I think Paul's maybe kind of invoking that. Isaiah 42, verses 6 and 7. I am the Lord, I have called you in righteousness. There's again that kletos there that he's using. Isaiah 43, do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. Isaiah 51, look to Abraham your father and to Sarah who bore you, for he was but one when I called him. And later, of course, we'll see about Abraham. And so when he says that, we've kind of naturalized that word because it's so churchy. But I think in some ways we should read that in that Old Testament sense, in that he is aligning himself with that call that we see in Isaiah, that we see in Jeremiah.
Yeah, very much. There's a great. It's a book that I listen to, but it's essentially a transcripted speech by a guy named Os Guinness. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Heard the name. Yeah.
Written a lot of, but he talks about calling very in depth in that. But he talks about generic calling, like a generic calling of all Christians, and that that rings like the Matthew 28. Go therefore and make disciples. That would be a generic calling, like for all Christians. But then he talks about specific calling, where you see like pastoral ministry. Paul is very much talking specific calling here. Like, I was specifically called to this purpose. Just like you mentioned, Jeremiah and Isaiah, there was a generic calling on the entire people of Israel, but their calling was specific and unique. And Paul is very much speaking to that. Not just a generic calling as on me, Paul, as a Christian, but a specific calling on me as an apostle set apart for this purpose.